I am Jennifer Johnson, and I raise sheep for their wool. We are in the early part of autumn here at Whispering Pines Farm in western New York. The sheep are coated and ready for transition from pasture to a full diet of hay in the winter months. Those coats keep the hay out of their wool. We're looking at which rams we'll be using for breeding in November and which will be taken to market. I'm very busy in the wool cave, creating lovely products from our sheep's wool in order to build up my stocks for the Rhinebeck Fiber Festival, which always takes place on the third weekend of October. Rhinebeck is one of the largest festivals here in New York, and we set up our booth at the festival in order to offer our wool, as well as the entire line of Magicraft spinning wheels and fiber preparation equipment. I do fiber festivals all year long, but the ones in autumn just seem to be particularly special. You know, it's the cool air starting up and the beautiful colors of all the leaves on the trees and sort of that crisp apple smell, wood smoky smell in the air, something about it. It's just really special. And then you layer that with a fiber festival with a bunch of like-minded people that love to make things with wool and are all happy and walking around in their hand-knit finery. And I can't imagine anything better. We've completed 2 festivals already, and they both have come with their challenges as well as triumphs. In this video, I'm going to share with you our experience with the 2 festivals we did in September, the Western New York Fiber Arts Festival and the Adirondack Woolen Arts Festival. The Western New York Fiber Arts Festival is my local festival, so it's about 45 minutes from here. I've been participating in this festival for about 17 years, so I know most of the vendors and a lot of the people that come to the festival, the volunteers, people doing demos and giving classes. So it's really almost like an annual reunion to get together at the Western New York Festival. It takes place in East Aurora, New York, which is about 45 minutes south of us. East Aurora is a really quaint little town. It's got a lot of notable sites, including the home of Millard Fillmore, the headquarters for Fisher-Price Toys, the Roycroft campus, and Vidler's Five and Dime, which you've seen if you ever watch a Hallmark movie. It's a one-day festival, and setup takes place the morning of the event, which means a very early start for vendors, as we've got to be up and ready to go by the start time of 10 a.m. I'm on the board for this festival. My assigned role is vendor liaison, so I help with communications with all the vendors at the festival. I'm really happy that I can contribute to this event, as it's so very near and dear to me. It was my very first ever festival I had a booth at, way in the beginning of our sheep farm journey. I packed the van the night before and then started up really early on the day of to head out to the event. So it's Fiber Festival Day. This is the Western New York Fiber Festival. And I packed up the van last night and spent the entire day yesterday marking wool and getting it ready, and had a lot more than I thought, and I'm really excited. There's a few skeins of yarn that I just love. I'm looking forward to showing them to people. And the wheels are all packed. I have the drum carter in the van, and just really, looking forward to the kickoff of Fiber Festival season here in the fall. I'm just really looking forward to seeing everybody. It's going to be a lot of fun. Rich stayed home and took care of the animals and did some pasture management while the weather was cooperating. The sheep won't eat the stalky seed head grass, so we have to mow that down with the brush hog, and that allows the lush undergrowth to flourish to create a more nutritious pasture for the sheep. When I left the house, it was still dark, but it was light enough when I reached my favorite spot on the drive to East Aurora to be able to catch my view. Once I arrived at the rink where the festival is held, I unloaded the van and then set up the booth. got 20 minutes, which this is unprecedented that I'm this far along and I still have time. So I'm just gonna take you on a quick tour. I have to get my fancy boots and my shirt on still, but let's just take a quick look around. I got a blast of sunlight coming through. There's my note cards. I still have some of those. And these 2 market bags, those are the ones I made from the yarn that was spun by people demoing my wheels, and then I plied it and made these really fun bags. Here's some stuff I still gotta organize. Right there. So here's some Magic Craft stuff. I usually just bring a bobbin of each type just to show people what things look like, and the flicker. Here's my shirt that I gotta change into. Needle felting kits. It's fun little market bags that my friend Hannah makes. Hi, making a video. How are you? This is my thrummed mittens. I like to have an example of this, and I set that with my bats to encourage knitters to try using the bats for thrumming. And then my Pioneer gloves, I've got 2 skeins of self-striping yarn in the booth today. And then here's the hand spun. I don't have any mill spun roving right now. I've ran out. But these are those bumbly yarns that you can use to make. And then my standard yarns, hand spun 2-ply. Love this one. My favorite, I put way back here. This is Brunhild. It's gray, but it's got this really cool, I don't know if the color comes through. And Amelia's beautiful brown. And then these are textured yarns. These are shorter staple that I put on the drum carder and dizzed and spin them up. And they just make nice textured hats like this one here. It just has a little more interest to it. And then some random stuff I still have to organize. And my hand carded bats. Here. And then down here. My grid wall almost tipped over, so I had to reconnoiter that here at the last minute, which is fine. All the wheels. And then my neighbor was gracious enough to let me use her grid wall, so I got that. So all the wheels. And there's the Rose. I love to feature her. And my drum carder, which I have to get situated. I don't like how I have it set up right now. Miscellaneous fiber prep tools. I'll get into that. My overdrive bobbin. I love putting that out in the front because it's so ridiculous. And then the beautiful new Luna. Hi Jen, how are you? Doing a YouTube video on this show, so I wanted to get as much as I can. Once the festival opened the gates, I was busy the entire day. For me, festivals are about much more than just making sales. I consider a festival a success if I can engage with as many makers as possible. I love hearing the story of their journey, helping beginner spinners hone their craft, talking about our sheep and their wool and what it's like to be a farmer raising sheep for their wool. I like to wear fancy cowboy boots and dress up at festivals. I never get to wear nice clothes when taking care of the sheep or washing wool. At 1,200 guests, the festival had an increase of 300 people compared to last year, and all the vendors reported excellent activity and sales. I was very grateful to have a helper in the afternoon. She did some videoing, demoed a wheel, and helped tidy the displays, and worked with me to load up the van at the end. After a whirlwind day of meeting new people and catching up with old friends, it was time to break down the booth, pack it all in the van, and head back home. Here I am, taking apart the little gem, which is the travel wheel from Magic Craft. That wheel can be broken down and put in a travel bag for easy transport. If you can't make it to a fiber festival, you can always pop over to my online shop for all of your Magicraft needs. Thank you to everyone that stopped by the booth and made that day a great success. The Adirondack Woolen Arts Festival was the next weekend, and a little bit more involved as I had to travel 4 hours to get there. My son Will lives near the festival, and I was thrilled when he offered to help me out for the weekend. This was my first year at this event. I was a little discouraged by my booth location at first, as I was tucked way in the back corner in the barn farthest from the entrance. All those barns with the red stars had vendors in them. But it actually worked out pretty nicely, as I was able to spread out beyond the confines of my 10 by 10 booth and was able to do some repair maintenance on a work table a few feet from my booth, for example. And demo spinning was also outside of the booth space, but it wasn't a problem because there was so much empty space in our building. And as always, I did my part to spark interest in hand spinning with the future generations. The Magicraft e-flyer allows me to draft from any angle or location, so it's nice to have children get to experience treadling while I draft. It just gives them that thrill of making yarn. And yes, they get to take the yarn they made home with them as a souvenir. So at this event, because it was a full weekend, we were able to set up on Friday, and then the event started on Saturday. This lovely weaver was at the festival representing her guild, and she was nice enough to do a quick demonstration for me. So I took a few minutes from setting up and went around and videoed a few of the booths just to give you a sense of the festival and what it feels like. The Adirondack Festival also had an animal show, so that was really nice to be able to see fiber animals right there at the festival. Western New York Fiber Arts Festival was really lovely. One-day event, and this year we had 1,200 people. Adirondack, I was actually, by the end of it, I was really happy that I went to it, and I'm coming back next year. And they publicized, they have 3,000 people that come there for the whole weekend. So Rhinebeck I've got coming up in 3 weeks, and that's 20,000 visitors a day. So it's a big difference, a huge increase in volume. So I have a lot of work to do to get prepared for that festival. Rich is going to be coming with me to Rhinebeck again this year. And we're expecting to be really busy introducing people to Magic Craft wheels and our wool. And of course, catching up with friends that we really only get to see once a year. Attending fiber festivals, that's one of my favorite things about raising sheep for their wool. Farming can be such a solitary vocation. And festivals, in contrast, are a great opportunity to engage with loads of like-minded people. I find it very inspirational and stimulating. Add to that the season of autumn, and it's just sheer perfection. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. I am going to be making a video from Rhinebeck when I'm there. So if there's anything that you'd like me to get footage on, let me know. And if you scan this QR code, it's going to take you to a playlist of, I think there's 4 videos of past Rhinebeck festivals that I've, videoed my experience as a vendor. It's kind of a different perspective than most of the videos because it's kind of more behind the scenes. So thank you so much for stopping by, and I hope that you can come back again soon.